Got Johnny Arman coming on. Good morning. I better turn this over here. Good morning, YouTube.
I'm sitting in the old hot tub, and there was no freaking pre-game show on, and I'm like,
I'm getting things ready to go here. You settle down. If you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead about 16 minutes.
I still don't see anything.
Well, I'm live. I'm going, baby.
Well, what's going on my end?
Scotty Bulgy's on here with me. Morning, Waylon. Morning, Scott. You know, the reason, Jesse, you can't get it on your phone is you're still running on green screen. You're running on DOS droid technology.
I'm on my TV on YouTube on West River Fiber. There you are. You got fiber. I can hear myself over this.
That's because I have it right up here to the damn thing, so everybody's hearing you.
Oh, fair enough. Turn this shit down now so I can just talk to you on the phone. All right. Well, what are you doing today after the show?
Planning going out and feeding cows, checking calving, starting pretty good right now. Then I'm going to try to put a oil pressure gauge in my Ecolac pickup, and I'm going to attempt to turn up my hydraulics on my tractor, and I'm going to attempt to find a wiring issue I have on my tractor, and then I am going to look at my baler and see if I have to rebuild the pickup header on my baler, and then
So what you're saying is you're not coming up here to help me install a washer and dryer and work on the fishing boat.
Correct. That would be correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'll be watching and listening and whatnot.
All right. Sounds good. Catch you later.
Yeah, bye.
All right, Karen, good morning. Good to have you along here. Waylon should all be done by noon. Yeah. Morning, Wayne. One shot cap. Good morning. Let's see here. Right. Yeah. Should all be done. I got a mechanic coming up, so I'm hoping to be at least finding the hydraulic on my tractor issue and wiring issue. This is what I'm hoping, but I don't know. The baler thing might have. I don't even think if it doesn't. We haven't had snow. We haven't had rain. We haven't had nothing. I'm probably the baler's probably good for this year. Just sitting in the corner is what I'm guessing here. That's what I think.
Good morning.
Morning, John. Live on YouTube, just so you know.
All right.
No incriminating evidence can be spoken then.
Yep.
How the heck you been?
Been good. No complaints.
Good.
Just waiting for a little bit of rain or something.
Need something. It's pretty sad right now.
Yeah. I'm a little worried. We started out like this a few years back, and it was like ended up being dry as a popcorn fart. So I'm hoping.
At least you got irrigation down by your end, though.
Yeah, I mean it does help that part of it. But like I said, the pastures and stuff like that, and the food plots. I guess we know what it's like living in North Dakota. It's, you just never know.
Yeah. One shot cap. How are your cows doing, Scott? Cows are good. They're tired of being on feed for as long as they've been on feed, but they got no choice because the calving pastures. Well, there's nothing in the grass anymore. There. I mean, what grass is there is pretty tight. It's actually trying to green up a little bit now, John. So the cows are kind of trying to mow whatever little green that they can get, and it's just sad right now. But they're starting to pop calves here left and right, especially with this little system that came in here overnight or yet a couple days ago. They really started popping. So they're about
Those systems,
15 days early. What's that?
Yeah, when you get a system that comes through like that, when the pressure changes, is that that kick them in gear?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the other day we had a barometric pressure dropped quite a bit, and it was just like, hey, why don't we all just start calving here 20 days early? So, so yeah,
sounds like my kids at school when the pressure drops, their mind goes.
Change their mind a little bit.
Huh? It's something. If a guy would study that, it'd be amazing, because there's days that the kids are just off their rockers.
Yeah. All right, stations. I forgot to do a 7 o'clock time. I'll do a 7:01 time check here. 7:01 Mountain Time.
What do you think of that? What, are we getting rid of Mountain Time?
I don't know. Coming on, Mark. You know, I'm just going to guess that we're going to get pressured from enough East River people that everybody's going to change to Central Time. And whatever. You know, I grew up in Raleigh where we knew what the river was, the time zone. It was pretty simple, you know, and it just keeps coming more and more. I think there's only a handful of us counties left over here.
Yeah.
They shouldn't let it up to the county. They shouldn't just, oh, everybody should go.
Are they talking that? I don't know. Like I said, I've never understood it. I don't know why we're on two different times, but there must be a reason for it. You know, I understand when it goes further, you know, you go further west and further east type deal, but
I can't see why the river can't just stay what it was and be done there.
Yeah.
It was a pretty definitive mark, and it's no other state has changed it like that. So like that's what it is.
I remember they're talking about daylight savings too, taking that away, aren't they?
I don't know. I think we got bigger fish to fry to worry about than daylight savings and time zone stuff.
Yeah.
What do you do?
All I know is that at the ranch, I make sure my phone is off. Like I don't let it change, because it will go back and forth and kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, driving up to Sydney Livestock, Highway 16 north of Beach, right by Squaw Gap, it changes. Trotters to Squaw Gap changes to Central Time. Then you get to Squaw Gap and head on the gravel a little bit further towards Sydney, and it switches back. So I thought I was late for a bull sale one day, and I was an hour early.
Better early than
no.
What's on the agenda today? You got anything exciting?
Yeah, we got a few things. Got turkey season around the corner.
Yeah.
And you started posting some videos there.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them in my backyard. They're just they're fun to watch. I wish they had long beards, but the big ones will come.
I see as a landowner, I'm going to have to put in for a lottery antelope tag now. A landowner lottery, just like elk.
Oh, did they go through that?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to. It's still in consideration, but it looks like it's going to.
And guess who led that charge?
Who's that?
That was at BHA.
Oh. Just a way to take more private property rights away. Why don't we just strip them all from us?
Yeah.
They want to do that, they're going to find it's going to be very difficult to gain access if they're going to take away gratis tags.
And that's what I don't understand. That people don't understand that. I don't think they know the ramifications of it. You know, so they get their tags, but where are they going to hunt?
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
sure
don't know.
some people will be. I mean, I'm glad South Dakota sent me a message like, "Hey, don't forget to put in for a non-resident antelope," and I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, thanks for reminding me."
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's
I'm
at least I
putting
can
in
draw
for,
down there, you know.
yeah. I'm excited. Connor and Shelby invited me down to hunt antelope, and I forgot I've been putting in for points on stuff. And I'm going to do the special antelope tag, which is to hunt private land.
Yeah.
Which I really like that option. You know,
Yeah.
that if you want to pay a little
Yeah.
bit more,
Yep.
you only hunt private.
Yeah.
And I think we could do something like that in some of our stuff too. I think we could.
Yeah, there's
You know,
there's options, you know, like make it legal for me to protect my cattle. So, all right, John, we got 20 seconds here. Stand by here. I'm going to turn you down. Stations, 15 seconds to show time, starting on mark. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors, heard all across the Dakota Territory on great radio stations like K-Fire, 550 Bismarck, Mandan, KLTC, KCJB, KOLY, and KGFX, all across the Dakota Territory. Good to have you along here this morning, and also watching on my live stream on the YouTube side as well. Thank you for being a subscriber on my YouTube channel. That's Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. My guest is Mr. John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. John, it's been over 20 years that we've been sitting here discussing and talking, and it seems like just yesterday that I seen you at the grocery store and met you for the first time, man.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like I said, when we stepped in for you the other week, we were talking about that, how it's pretty amazing what you've done with this show and all that you do with the show and everything in your life. I don't think there's a guy I know that's busier than you are, and you do an awesome job. And I learned to respect what you did, because I'm glad I had Levi with me, because I don't know what I would have done, because I can't talk by myself and think of things to talk about. So,
well, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. You know, by doing all these different things, I don't know if it means that, you know, I'm busy, but it also means that I can't make enough money just doing one thing. I have to have all these other jobs to do things.
yeah.
So, I don't know if it works. Yeah.
No, it's been a good ride. I tell you what, I absolutely enjoy the heck out of it. Like I said, listening to that startup music and think about the first times we were on the radio, when we were in that radio station, and Todd there, you know, he was there helping us, and he was there, I think at the beginning, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I owe a lot of what I've done here to Todd Mitchell, man. I mean, he's been a huge supporter behind me from day one. And it's just like I said, you know, I'm the cockroach of radio. You just can't get rid of us.
No, and and again, I don't think people know or appreciate what it takes to do what you guys do, because it is not easy. When you sit there and you have to be, you know, because silence is deadly on the radio. And as soon as you have a brain fart or something doesn't work, it was like Todd stepped in and he helped us, and I'm like, man, it wasn't an easy thing. It was fun to do, but it was interesting for sure.
Yeah. We call it old school radio, Todd. Old school radio, because we have to back time, and when you're on a live program and covering a couple different radio stations, different companies, different owners, I appreciate those guys too. I mean, they step up and been carrying me for many, many years. So big thanks to them. So let's talk today. Let's start out with something before we get into some legislation stuff. Let's go with a little positive side here. We got turkey season coming around the corner, and it's been, you know, I talked to John and Piazza down in Texas here a couple of weeks ago and asked him the question of, why do the Southern boys like turkey hunting so much? I mean, it's a national holiday in the Southern states. And he explained it pretty well. He says, because we can shoot more than one, and it's you can keep going out. It's a way to kick off your hunting season. And it is, you know, we should look at it that way. It's not just taking a dirty bird out. It's the kickoff of this year's hunting season. And which, by the way, if you're a North Dakota resident and you April 1st is the deadline, you need a new hunting license by April 1st. South Dakota, it's just year by year. But April 1st is the North Dakota side. So let's talk a little bit about turkey hunting coming up around the corner here. What do you got? I know you're an archery guy over shotgun. So what do you use? What are you using this year for archery equipment?
Well, like I said, I do love shooting them with a bow, but I've shot them with a shotgun, and I got to say, it's fun or funner, more fun. It's like when they come in and you shoot them, they don't go anywhere. And with archery, sometimes you make a bad hit, and that's the tough thing about archery is that there's a small target. You have a super small vital, and a lot of times you will end up chasing them down or running after them, but that's part of the game.
Yeah.
And it's a way to extend the archery season. Like you said, one of the things that I love, and I've been running my stealth cams and getting video, is just listening to them in the morning. And it's not just the turkeys. It's listening to all the birds. It's just amazing how North Dakota starts lighting up. You go in the dead of winter where there's not a lot of anything in the background. It's just kind of quiet. You got the wind. You got a few birds, some chickadees and things like that. And now all these birds are squawking in the morning, and it's amazing how fast they get here and then how early they wake up. And these birds have been, with this early spring, I'm going to tell people is that things are going to be a little different because these birds are already spreading out.
Yeah.
Usually these birds are still in their winter grounds, and I'm already starting to see birds across the ranch, which usually is not, say, the end of April.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Well, it's one of two things. The spring came a little early for us. I mean, it really warmed up. It went from 40 below zero to the 60 above here, like within a couple of weeks. So I think spring has sprung a little bit early. And I hope that doesn't mean we're going to be a dry year this year by any means. But I started seeing the turkeys too. They went off of my winter feed grounds down where I feed cows to, they're spreading all over the place around here too.
Yeah, and there was a really good hatch last year. Good, because I know the birds in our area, I've seen an increase by 30% or more just in my backyard here, and down at the ranch, kind of the same thing. So I think they gave out some more turkey tags. So it's a great opportunity for people to get out there in the springtime. It's great for kids, and that's why I kind of keep these turkeys around my yard, because they're not fun. As a rancher, that they make a mess everywhere. And if my wife would have it right now, she would blow them all up because they're just crapping. They're crapping everywhere. And I said, just 3 more weeks so I can get some kids in here, because this is I call it the kiddie pool, where the kids can come in with their archery equipment. And you were talking about archery equipment, and one of the things, the most important thing about shooting a turkey is you use a big broadhead and try to make as much damage as possible, and just knowing where to shoot a turkey, because many times you hit them where you think is the right place, and you just go through their meat and you won't even find them.
Yeah.
So I put videos out, this simple things about out of a ground blind, because if you haven't shot out of one, it makes a big difference. Put your decoys close, and I'm saying like 8 yards away, because you want to shoot within 10 to 15 yards of a bird. Their vitals are about the size of an egg, maybe a little bit more, but not much more. And, as far as your bow goes, whatever you want to shoot, this year I'm shooting the new Hoyt, the new Ultra RX9, which, like I said, bows have gotten to be so good that they're all really, really a step above the. And the broadheads, I use big mechanical broadheads from New Archery Products. Anyone, like I said, everybody's got their favorite broadheads. Like I said, I like some of these that have 4 blades, because they do some serious damage.
Yeah. Every once in a while, John, your phone is kind of cutting out there, just to let you know. So not sure.
What the heck?
Not sure if you got a call coming in or somebody's trying to text you or something. Sounds like every once in a while, but yeah. Mechanical versus fixed blade versus giant Sichuan the neck right off type thing. But coming up here, we're going to have some questions coming in on turkey hunting, and we can always do that here. Feel free to text at 701-425-6651. You can live call if you want to, 888-9-DAKOTA. That's 888-932-5682. Or you can live chat with me on the YouTube side. So, well, John, hang on tight here. We're up against our first break here. So we'll talk more turkey, as they say here, coming up. And make sure you're checking into the actual dates on some of these applications, especially in South Dakota. Some of the application date deadlines are coming up, and some are just opening up here too. So we'll be back more with Dakota Prairie Outdoors across the Dakota Territory right after these messages.
Agriculture is a community of hard work, passion, optimism for the future, and a commitment to the livestock and land. For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been a leader in ag financing. Our local lending team knows the industry and the challenges, from droughts to winter blizzards. Stop by one of our branches today in your work boots or cowboy boots. You're always welcome.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, BowmanLivestockMarketing.com. Piper's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to their next round of upcoming auctions. 160 acres in Rolette County, 477 acres in Stutzman and Lemoore County, 308 acres in Lemoore County, and 153 acres in McLean County. The upcoming equipment sales features the West Dakota Spring 2025 machinery auction in Bowman, North Dakota, March 27th, and the timed online auction March 28th. For more information and to bid with confidence, go to Pifers.com.
If you're in the market for Red Angus bulls with performance, efficiency, and longevity, check out the 2025 private treaty offering from Dry Creek Ranch. Sons out of Duff Redblood, HXC Allegiance, 6 Mile Timberlake, and Wasm Seneca are up for grabs. We are committed to providing the highest quality genetics to help maximize your herd's productivity and long-term success. Stop in at the ranch anytime near Amadon, North Dakota, or give us a call at 701-523-8285 to visit about the bulls. Check out our program at drycreekranchnd.com or view our private treaty info on DV Auction.
Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch and Spring Angus out of Ekalaka, Montana remind you about their sale coming up April 25th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, Bowman Livestock Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 75 head of bulls featuring Sons of Wolverine, Summit, Rimfire, Medrock, Beaver Creek, and many more. Medicine Rocks and also Spring Angus invite you to their annual sale, April 25th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, Bowman Livestock Market, Bowman, North Dakota. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran-owned and operated. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals. Just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio on a beautiful Saturday morning here. Going to get another windy one here at the ranch, but early morning sure look pretty dandy here. John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV is my guest here, talking turkey season here for a little bit. Let's see here. Let's talk a little bit. I got a question came in here, John. It says, is it legal to whack the melon off of a gobbler with a 223? And I believe in North Dakota, I do not believe that is legal.
No, not anymore. They had it legal for a while, and they changed it. But it's been, I think, quite a few years that you can't shoot them with a rifle.
Yeah. Which I don't know what state to state here. It all changes, so make sure you check all the rules and regulations. But when a guy checks into to some of these turkeys, when it comes to, like, I'm a G5 Montec guy. I just like my fixed blades so much. Like, I don't have to worry about them, right? And every once in a while, like the expandables, because I like to spot and stock, and if it gets caught up in some bullberry bushes or something, it seems like the expandables, they'll one of them little rubber pieces will come off or something, and something will happen. So I stick with my old fixed blades, and I figure if it's good enough to take a deer down, it can take a turkey.
Oh yeah, you just gotta hit them in the right spot. I mean, that's all it is too. It's like, it's a little bit smaller cutting diameter. Most of them are probably an inch and 3/16 somewhere in there, and you get to the expandables that will go 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and that's what guys are looking for. Is what's the old rage said is expand your kill zone. So it does work either way. You got to hit them in the right spot, and it's just, I always tell people, I follow the leg bone up, and I try to crush their ham or their joint where their leg attaches, because if you hit them in that joint, the vitals are right above it and behind it. But if you miss the vitals and you break a turkey's leg, they can't fly. So you're going to catch them. You're going to get them.
So it's not like WKRP in Cincinnati, and they're like, dropping turkeys from a helicopter, an airplane type thing. I can't believe, I thought turkeys could fly. They can fly.
Yes, they can. Yeah, they can. They just don't like to, it's funny. They don't like to fly for long distances, but I've seen them in the Badlands go for a half a mile, gliding off the buttes and stuff like that. They can glide. They're a big animal. They're a big bird, so they just they're not flying south for the winter.
No. Question comes in, says, is it still resident only turkey in North Dakota?
Yes, it is. I think, and I may be wrong on this. I think maybe in the fall, can the non-resident get turkey tags when they're left over? I don't know if that's true or not, but I wish it was in the springtime where you could bring a buddy in from out of state. We have leftover tags, so I'm not sure why I asked that question, and there wasn't really an answer, given. I don't think there was any specific reason, except this let's give North Dakota, something to keep itself.
The resident only, just like the big three, unless you sell one bighorn tag at an auction somewhere, then you can bring anybody you want in. So yeah. Well, I tell you, turkey season, it's the kickoff of hunting season. So let's talk here. We got a couple other messages coming in. Clay, we're going to save yours for the second half of the program. Mark Schreifer Red Angus says, good morning. Hope calving's going well. Riley and the neighbors will, with their new thermals, kept the coyote population in check around here. But there's a lot of pockets where the coyotes are still a major problem. And that's one thing that we talked about, I think, on almost every program, John, this winter, is the amount of coyotes this year compared to many other years. It is unbelievable. This week alone, I started calving and just driving out and checking cows 3 times a day. And I got 2 different pastures I'm calving in. And I've taken over 8 coyotes just this week. The Fish and Wildlife Service has snares set up in one pasture. They took 12 out this week. And it just week after week, it just keeps more and more. I mean, I get it. Calving season, they're going to probably come into the calving grounds, but you take one out and there's 5 more right behind it, ready to come in right behind it. So it is an issue.
It is. I mean, I don't know if it's because, it seems like there's a lot of guys with thermal hunting, the popularity of predator hunting. There's a lot of guys hunting them, but I just don't know if it's less than it used to be when, fur prices were higher. There was more guys trapping and snaring. I don't know what the problem is. I just know that they're super resilient. And, usually they, I'm sure they have litters of 6 to 8 pups. And like I said, they don't have any natural predators except us.
Yeah.
So most of them make it, and it doesn't take long before, the population gets out of control.
Well, especially if you have an easy summer last year, easy breeding all through the winter, and everything seemed to go really in their favor. I cut one of mine open here, just a dummy. I don't understand. I mean, they're getting more and more brave, but I took one here the other day, and just curiosity. It was a big female, and I cut it open, and there was 12, 13 pups in there.
Really?
Yeah. So. Will they all survive if they, I doubt that, but they're loaded up here, ready to go. So keep shooting. The tough part here is on the North Dakota border side of things is March 15th was the deadline where you can't use thermal anymore. And I didn't start calving until March 15th. So that took away one of the tools that we had to protect some of the cattle here. So, yeah.
Have you ever talked to the Game and Fish about that? And what is the regulations for you if you want to protect your cattle?
It's a very gray area because the Century Code says that I can use any means possible, but I don't know. They need to make it black and white so I know what I can do and I can't do. So
and again, I think that's one that is common sense with the Game and Fish, and maybe if we approach them about getting that changed, that we could at least run it through, June when everybody's done calving. I don't know. I've never understood why we can't use it. I understand during deer season, but I've never understood why at any other time, because we need to kill the coyotes. We need to kill as many as we can.
I agree. If they want to, you can't use thermal from, even like September 1st to the end of deer season. Right. I mean, that's when elk season starts, or archery, okay. I'd even be fine with that. But then you look at it, some people have the fall calvers. There's people that calve in the fall too. So why take it away from them also? But text comes in, says, I better check my time here. He says, watch my son actually watch a cow roll a coyote yesterday morning while trying to clean up some afterbirth on 2 new pairs. Cow 1, coyote 0. He says, it's good to have some of these good mamas out there. Martin, did you get that? Did you get it?
I just saw that. That's funny.
Isn't calving technically baiting coyotes? That's a good one. You and I both stop at the same time, Lo. We'll get the same text here. But hopefully we can change some of these that helps the calving side of things a little bit more. Sure would be nice, no doubt. That and being able to hire somebody else to come in and fly. I live real close to somebody on the Montana side that has a helicopter. That would be so nice in these rough areas to actually get in on some of these coyotes a little bit nicer and easier and quicker. But
yeah, South Dakota can do that, can't they?
South Dakota is very friendly when it comes to protecting livestock. Yes. Yeah. You can fly your own land. You can do whatever you want on your own property, on your own private property.
The thing I've always said about a lot of these rules and regulations that we have, like say the coyotes or the flying, you're taking away a tool from the person that follows the rules and regulations. And I think it's their idea is that, well, we don't want people to break the law and shoot a deer with a thermal or whatever. And my philosophy on that is, if you're going to, if you're going to break it, you're going to break it. It's not going to stop a criminal from being a criminal. And it's not going to stop an innocent guy, because the innocent guy's not going to do it.
Right.
You know, you and I aren't going to go shoot a deer and with a thermal, no matter what. But the guy that will do it is going to do it whether there's a law that states it or not.
Very true, John. And that takes us up to the half-hour break here. Thank you for coming on here. And we'll cover more in the second half. We'll got some text messages coming in, some different kind of thing. You know, we'll check that and some dates. John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV is my guest here. And we're going to continue this talk here and keep your messages and your ideas coming in. We'll cover those on the second half of the program. We'll be back with more right after these great sponsors.
Agriculture is a community of hard work, passion, optimism for the future, and a commitment to the livestock and land. For over 80 years, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been a leader in ag financing. Our local lending team knows the industry and the challenges, from droughts to winter blizzards. Stop by one of our branches today in your work boots or cowboy boots. You're always welcome.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Equal housing lender.
There's a reason you're seeing more Red Angus cattle in the country. Great mama cows, high weaning weights, and easy keepers. With a family that bases their entire operation on faith, honesty, and trust. You can see those values in their 30-plus years in the Red Angus breed. Schriefer Red Angus, the breed that generates a positive return on investment. SchrieferRedAngus.com. Bowman Livestock Marketing, serving the tri-state area for all of your livestock marketing needs. Eastern Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. You can be sure of great care for your cattle and top price at sale time. Call Austin Snook at 307-290-2161. That's 307-290-2161 for more information or just to talk cattle markets. You can also find them on Facebook and go to their website, BowmanLivestockMarketing.com. Piper's Auction and Realty would like to invite you to their next round of upcoming auctions. 160 acres in Rolette County, 477 acres in Stutzman and Lemoore County, 308 acres in Lemoore County, and 153 acres in McLean County. The upcoming equipment sales features the West Dakota Spring 2025 Machinery Auction in Bowman, North Dakota, March 27th, and the timed online auction, March 28th. For more information and to bid with confidence, go to Pifers.com.
If you're in the market for Red Angus bulls with performance, efficiency, and longevity, check out the 2025 private treaty offering from Dry Creek Ranch. Sons out of Duff Redblood, HXC Allegiance, 6 Mile Timberlake, and Wasm Seneca are up for grabs. We are committed to providing the highest quality genetics to help maximize your herd's productivity and long-term success. Stop in at the ranch anytime near Amadon, North Dakota, or give us a call at 701-523-8285 to visit about the bulls. Check out our program at drycreekranchnD.com or view our private treaty info on DV Auction.
Medicine Rocks Angus Ranch and Spring Angus out of Ekalaka, Montana remind you about their sale coming up April 25th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, Bowman Livestock Market, Bowman, North Dakota. Selling 75 head of bulls featuring Sons of Wolverine, Summit, Rimfire, Medrock, Beaver Creek, and many more. Medicine Rocks and also Spring Angus invite you to their annual sale, April 25th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, Bowman Livestock Market, Bowman, North Dakota. This portion of the program is brought to you by Freedom Repair. Whether it's a tractor, baler, your cutter, your combine, or air seeder, Freedom Repair comes to you and helps you get fixed up and back in the field. 19 plus years experience. Give Lucas Kelly a call at 701-440-1945. That's 701-440-1945. Freedom Repair, veteran owned and operated. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance, agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or talking animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered with price in mind. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, Wilton, Bowman, and Hettinger.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Saturday edition on a beautiful Saturday morning across the Dakota Territory. Liking it. All right, John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV is my guest here. John, a couple things on the South Dakota side here. We have East River non-resident landowner application deadline ended here this past week here. And coming up here, this non-resident archery application opens March 25th in South Dakota. And non-resident archery, public and private land application opens up April 1st in South Dakota. And for those paddlefish guys, Gavin's Point Dam Archery opens, the online application date starts, or ends rather, April 2nd. So a couple of important dates there. Now, let's talk about it. I was reading through the legislation on the North Dakota side here, and it says Senate Bill 2155. The number of pronghorn gratis license, or gratis, however you want to pronounce it, issued may not exceed 1/2 of any pronghorn license available. In addition, if the individual is unsuccessful in the landowner lottery, the application is included in the regular lottery. So you and I were discussing this before we started the program. You're going to take away gratis tags from landowners. Good luck letting somebody else come in and hunt on that same property. I just I don't see where they're going with this one.
You know, I want to get an antelope tag, and they feel like the landowners are getting all the tags because we just don't have that many tags. But again,
that's true. Right. I mean, I'm not I agree with that. The landowners were getting tags. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But again, I think that when you start biting the hand that feeds you, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You know, you might get more tags, but I think you're going to have less places to hunt because some of these guys are going to get upset about it, you know, and that, you know, it's been this way forever, and they start changing things. And a lot of the times, like I said, I know that the animals are not, they say no one owns them. But when Joe Public starts complaining, and this one was backed by, you know, an organization that has a lot of money behind them, and is very vocal for public, you know, hunting and public things like that. And I think that they, you know, it's through.
Yeah. I got a text came in and says if they pass that bill, I'm not going to let anybody have any access unless they pay me. So that's what it's kind of getting pushed to. You know, it's going to be like access fees for pretty much everything if you take away, like you said, the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Yeah, I got another one. Possession is 9/10 law, and I say that a lot. You know, I still think that there's something we could do is that as landowners, we could give it to somebody that we want to.
Right. That would be nice. Yeah.
And I think that landowners would share. They give it to their friends or give it to whatever. And again, you know, I know it comes down to a money thing. And you know, I don't know how you would control that because you don't want, if a guy's going to be selling stuff, you know, that changes things. But you know, there's ways we could do that. Also, I think that you could generate money, habitat, and different things like that. Because I believe like the elk tag. I don't think that a landowner should get to shoot a big bull every year just because he has elk on his place. I would like to see it as still gratis, but I would like that gratis to be able to hand it to the rest of your family, to your friends. They could keep passing it around so everybody get a lifetime chance to shoot an elk, but it would still be in the landowner's hands, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's an interesting.
They're still getting that tag.
Interesting concept. So if I get drawn for a tag and I give it to somebody that's been putting in for the once in a lifetime, and I give it to them, then that's their once in a lifetime tag. So
Yep.
That interesting concept. Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, because like I said, as a landowner, like I love getting my gratis tag, right? But a gratis deer tag is a little different than a gratis elk tag.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from a landowner because I'm a landowner. I just don't think it's right that landowners get to shoot a big bull every year when we could use it to give someone else a chance. They could still get that tag and they could assign it to whoever they wanted. And that person would get their once in a lifetime. And I think that most landowners would share that tag, don't you? Instead of shooting one every year themselves.
Well, so a couple things. First off, they don't get a big bull every year. It's still a lottery, right? So I mean, we don't get a gratis tag every year on that.
Right.
And some people don't. They take cows. So
Right.
there are people that do that. Now, I think that I know probably at least a handful of people around this area that if they got drawn, that they would be more than happy to have their cousin or family member or somebody else come in and have that opportunity. I do think there would be some sharing.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But
Yeah, 'cause
basically,
I think
what they're doing at the pronghorn antelope tags is basically they're moving it to what we're going through for landowners for elk tags. It's still a lottery, and if we don't get one, we don't get one, right?
Right.
But there are
Yeah,
people
like I said,
that are getting them every single year.
oh yeah, because it depends on where you live. I think location by the park where there's more elk. I know. So like I said, I just think that there's things that we could talk about, and I think that's one thing to maybe take us into another conversation here. Is that I think right now the Game and Fish is sitting in a position with the public, and especially with landowners and things like that, they're not sitting very well. I think that some mistakes were made on their part with this whole CWD thing. And it's not that it's not a disease, but I think that they pushed it so hard and created a huge wedge between sportsmen's organizations, landowners. And I think that all of this stuff that we're dealing with right now could have been settled at a table around having a coffee or a beer. And I think that right now the Game and Fish and the public and the landowners need to start working together better for North Dakota, because we've made some huge mistakes on all the way around in handling our wildlife. And this legislation that's going through, and I was just following the feeding law about trying to get it where everybody can, as a public landowner, you can, a private landowner, you can feed, which I can feed deer year round, but I can't hunt over it. And I could care less about shooting a deer over corn or anything. But the idea of taking it away from other people that have been doing it, it's not making that big of a problem. And right now, with that bill going through, I heard that they wanted to attach some amendments to it. And the amendments are completely, in my opinion, just absolutely stupid. They open up a can of worms. They talk about a setback, saying that as a landowner, I have to set back feed X amount of feet from a fence.
Yeah.
And to me, what about the guys that sit on my fence line? Are we going to pretty soon not going to be able to hunt our own land, and we have to sit back 200 yards? Yeah. So I think some of these things coming through are going to cause a lot of trouble.
It's private property rights is what it is.
Well, it is, and it's just common sense. Just pass it clean, or don't pass it, but don't start adding amendments that are going to hurt wildlife in North Dakota. Because the way it's set up now, if I understand right, you would start getting in trouble for feeding wildlife. And I think the Game and Fish has made mistakes, and it was proven, when we lost 40,000, 50,000 deer to a winter, that feeding a wildlife does sustain them. And there's times that we have to feed wildlife. It's no different than feeding your cows. Your cows would make it through this winter without any feed. If you, well, maybe not in your area because of the pastures, but most cows will make it through a winter. They're just not going to look as good if you don't feed them.
Right.
But that's why we feed them. And the same with wildlife. If we're not putting in, if there's no crops in North Dakota that are left for them, if there's no habitat left for them, feed is no different than habitat. They go hand in hand. And by us not feeding the wildlife over that bad winter and saying, the game and fish not doing a lot, we lost a lot of deer. So I think some of these amendments, and I don't know where these guys are getting them from. I remember the one about the bird feeder. I mean, how stupid is that? You can't have a bird feeder X amount of feet from your house. So what, a guy's going to set up a bird feeder to hunt over?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. So I think we need to sit back down the table and figure some of this out.
Well, we got text messages coming in here. One comes in here. It says there's landowners in the Turtle Mountain unit that never see an elk on their property and they receive a gratis tag, but you can hunt the unit wide with a gratis tag, which that is true. And remember, gratis tag rules are set by the legislature, not the Game and Fish.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Another one comes in. Jesse says, what you were just discussing, that's part of what drove the wedge. The sportsmen tried to talk to the Game and Fish at a regional meeting. They didn't listen to a word, and they kept putting more and more regulation. And the sportsmen and landowners went the legislative route with it, which that's how you have to do it, right? And another one comes in, says, with over 90% of the land in private hands, I would suggest the legislature and the Game and Fish tread lightly. Without us, the ability to manage will vanish. Just a reality. So, yeah.
No.
That's true. So, I mean, what surprises me. So I look at the South Dakota legislature thing, and there's like 8 things, and it's just cleaning up some language. It's just like, how come it changes? It's just, we're right there. There are neighbors right there, and they don't have near the issues that are going on that we have. What's the scoop? What's going on? What has Shelby taught you and being a resident down there? What's going on?
I don't know. Like I said, I just think, when we talk about going the legislative way, because there's things that I do believe, like when people say on preaching, Randy Newberg and Ryan Callahan saying, we don't want to put this in the legislature's hands. They start making stupid rules and regulations. And I understand that because, Colorado, if you get a real liberal government, they're going to start, that's where the wolf things comes in, all that. Here we're conservative, but we're still seeing stupid things happen where instead of being a clean bill, they add language to it, which makes it worse. And that's where I think when people in the legislature, but we, the people, when we don't get heard, when the people aren't being heard by the Game and Fish, that's when they go that route. And that's the way our country's set up, is that if we don't like something, we have a voice. So we always have a backup voice. We may be talking about something in the township and they keep, our county keeps screwing us over because of something. We have a right to go to our representative and say, we don't like this. And that's what people are doing right now. And I just think everything works. Keep your cool and have a conversation about it. Yeah. And there's got to be give and take. And I think there could have been give and take on this. And the Game and Fish could have got what they wanted. And I think the people could have got what they wanted.
Well, you want to open up another box?
Yeah.
Senate Bill 2197, an individual over the age of 75 may use a crossbow during bow season. It failed the Senate.
Right. Yeah.
Why? What's wrong with that? Crossbows have been around longer. Like, we're talking 3,000 years. So if everybody went, well, we got to look at the heritage of hunting. Okay. Why wouldn't you let a 75-year-old? Why wouldn't you let a 75-year-old use a crossbow? Why not? Why? Tell me why.
I don't know. I just know that, again, I don't agree with it because I know that our North Dakota Bowhunters Association was against it. And I listened to it a little bit because their representative was talking, and they were making it sound like we already had, we have kind of it's by gig going to the doctor. The problem is that I know people firsthand that have gone to the doctor, got an excuse, and the Game and Fish turned them down.
Okay.
And I, for one, the only thing I would have added to it, and I think it would have made everybody happy, is that if you have had a previous bow license in the last 5 years, since you're applying for or when you're 70 or whatever. It's like it protects people thinking, well, a guy's just starting to hunt. I don't believe that anybody at 70 years old or 75 is just going to go out and get a crossbow for his first time ever hunting.
So what if they do though? So what?
Honestly, it doesn't make a difference. They're not going to hurt the population. It's not going to hurt draw odds. You're talking 75. The guy I'm talking about, Scott Lang, is a wonderful man. He's been bow hunting his whole life, and he has trouble walking. He has trouble getting around. He doesn't want to quit hunting, and has had to quit bear hunting because it's just too hard for him. And he's got a piece of property, and he wants to go out and shoot one, and they wouldn't give him a permit because they said his shoulders were okay and it had nothing to do with his walking or whatever. I don't know the exact details, but he got turned down, and he had a doctor's permit. And it was sad because this is a guy that wants to continue hunting. And so he had to work his butt off to be able to draw his bow back, I think at 40 pounds, to try to bow hunt this last year. And I just think that was a dumb one. I just don't understand it. And when I see my guys at NDBA, I'm going to ask them about it and ask why, we didn't go through with that one. And the other thing I'm going to ask them is, did we send out a survey? Because I get frustrated with these organizations, and I love them. They do a good job. But I think anybody that represents me should ask my opinion.
I'm very true.
Why, what they believe in. Because if you have 1,000 people that you're representing, it's no different than our representatives. It's our opinion. We're the ones that are part of this club. So why not send out a survey? And if they did, I apparently missed it.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. I know we can go on. Texts come in. I want to make sure to get some of these here. A former legislator once told me, regardless of how dumb the idea that comes from a constitute is, we as a representative have a responsibility to put it in as a bill or an amendment, at least give it a chance, no matter how dumb it is. So that comes from a legislator. Another one comes in and says, one thing that South Dakota has is a commission versus North Dakota that uses the legislature to set laws and regulations for hunting. Mm-hmm. Is it better? Well, it depends on who the governor is and who they appoint to the commission. So that is very true that way too. Yeah. And Gene says, in my opinion, if you're going to use the heritage of hunting thing, only Hawkins and the like for muzzleloader. How about the adage of there's plenty of room at the table for all hunting? Yeah. Yeah,
it's like I said, it's tough. And I do, one thing like you said about South Dakota, and I heard about Wisconsin, they have a commission in each county. Yeah. Like they have a board in each county that helps. And I believe that we should have more landowners, I think, presented well enough because they're a big part of it. The ranchers, the farmers, get everybody. And if you're going to have a sportsman's group on there, I'm fine with that. But I think it should be a North Dakota-born sportsman's group. I think it should be North Dakota-based. I don't think it should have anybody on the outside.
State-based.
Yeah, it's got to be state-based and not some conglomerate that's got a bunch of money behind them. And it's just weird how we do with the law. And that's the same with lobbying. I think there should be some laws on that when these lobbyists that have lots of money behind them and they get paid to do it. It messes things up.
Yeah. Well, with the way the legislature at the term limits, which I support term limits, I just think this was too short. 8 years is pretty short, but it's going to be run by lobbyists here is what's going to happen. So,
well, yeah. And I think people thought that term limits was like national and not so much North Dakota, because when you think about it, if you get someone good, and 8 years, and our representatives, we want good people, because what if there is no good people, and we have no one to choose from?
That's going to be outside people moving in from California that are going to have the time and the effort to do this and get elected because they moved here and they're residents, and they're going to bring some different ideologies here. But it's tough because I would love to run for the legislature, but I can't. It's who's going to feed cows? Who's going to take care of that stuff? And But we can go on and on about this here for a little bit. Anyway, we're going to continue on the YouTube side of things here. There's no doubt about that. We're going to continue on here. But John, thank you so much for coming on and help stir the pot with me a little bit. We'll continue stirring it afterwards. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
All right, man. Thank you, and have a great day.
You bet. Thanks for tuning in here today. Dakota Prairie Outdoors Daily Show can be heard on every one of these radio stations, plus many, many more. And remember, check it out. Have yourself a great weekend and enjoy. Turkey season around the corner, my friends. Eat some meat, drink some milk, wear fur, wear wool, and support the farmers and ranchers out there, making sure that everything gets fed correctly. All right, John, we give it a couple of seconds here. We should be clear here for a little bit. Then we'll get after some of these other text messages coming in that we can go off a little bit more on the YouTube side. One of them is they said, don't forget the Bow Hunter Association was also against posting bill in 2019. They're not on the side of landowners. So
no, and again, my whole problem with that is that they can have their personal opinion, but it's got to reflect the majority of who they represent, and they're not. Unless, like I said, I get their emails, and I don't remember getting any surveys, and that's my biggest gripe about them. I think they've done some really good things. You know, they fought for getting a lighted knock, and they do some things.
Yeah.
Again, I think, you just got to represent your constituents, and if you're not, and it doesn't make a difference if it's at the state level or the national level, or the county level. If you're not, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
You know, it's not me. It's like me being the president of the club, and I want this, I want that, and it's my own agenda. That's not what it's about.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of that happens, though. I mean, and that's in any group. I mean, you can go everything from sportsmen's groups to everything else here. I got you, Jesse, here. I see you're on hold. One text is, remember, Minnesota of all states have allowed crossbows to be used during archery season, and it seems to have been working well and hasn't had a negative impact on the amount of tags or on the season at all. Waiting on more data after the completion of the 2025 season at the end of this year to add into that here. Let's all right, Jesse, you're on here. The after show with John and Scott. What's going on?
Well, I'll skip ahead of what I was going to say. Hey, John, one thing you got to remember about Minnesota and Wisconsin is the reason they're letting them use about anything to hunt deer out there is they've got a population problem that they can't keep up with. My father-in-law out in Wisconsin, he's on the Minnesota.
They must have a hell of a CWD
border. Well, they actually do, but they don't worry about it. They just shoot more. They shoot more by putting out tags. In Wisconsin, you get a buck tag, and they hand you three. Yeah. They hand you three doe tags with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're wanting you to hunt and thin the population. They're not just going out and mass shooting deer just to get rid of them or doing all kinds of weird restrictions.
Yeah, they quit doing that because they got too much heat.
They figured out that the population wasn't very happy with them about killing all the deer, and they're killing healthy deer, and that was just a dumb idea.
It's a dumb idea.
The thing I was going to say is, John, I understand you think they've done some good, but there is one organization that's more anti-private landowner than the North Dakota Game and Fish, and that is the North Dakota Bow Hunters Association. I think they are an absolutely horrible organization. They fight against anything that has any common sense. They fought against night vision after March 15th. They fought against this 75-year-old plus crossbow thing. Every bill that I've went to the legislature to testify on over the last 15 years about equipment usage or hunting dates or any of that, they are there and fight against it. Every single one. I have absolutely no use for North Dakota Bow Hunters Association. They have zero common sense in their leadership. The organization as a whole might have a good, a mission statement, but right now the guys that are taking the time to go to legislature and talk on the organization's behalf are absolutely out of their minds. It's a horrible organization as far as getting
Why
good
would they
rules passed.
testify against the thermal after March 15th? Why would a bow hunting group worry about that? I don't understand.
Neither do I. I went in there to ask what does March 15th have to do with night hunting coyotes, and I got answers that spread from, well, you're going to hunt big game. Big game's out of season. Well, it's when the ice houses come off. What does hunting coyotes at night have to do with ice houses?
Yeah.
Everything that was said had zero to do with protecting your private property, livestock, cattle, sheep, whatever you've got. Hell, it don't even got to be livestock. The coyotes in certain areas, you ask the people in the Black Hills especially, and I'll use this as an example because that's where I actually know people it's happened to. Coyotes and mountain lions are coming in and taking dogs and cats off of decks, off of porches. And people down there won't let their dogs outside at night to go to the bathroom because they disappear. So protecting your own animals, your own private property, your own rights, your own children, there shouldn't be any damn restriction on night vision. That's why I had to wait until we were off the main radio because it pisses me off.
So, and I agree with that. And I think that this is something we need to bring up. I mean, like I said, if they're not going to listen to us, then we need to go to the legislature and try to get this pushed through, because it is stupid, because we have a problem with coyotes, and it's like, why would we not? It doesn't stop. I try to tell people that it's like saying, okay, we have gun laws, right? We have drugs. No drugs allowed. Does that stop the druggies and the criminals? No.
Exactly.
And the guys that don't do drugs, we're not going to do drugs. And it's the same with shooting deer or doing any violation. It doesn't have anything to do with the honest person. It only does it with the, and it's like, I'm going to have my thermal in my shop, and I use it all the time looking out, is it again? So I can't even look through my thermal at night, right now?
Yeah,
is
is
that against the law now?
Here's a message from Wayne. It says game commissions can be good. However, you have to do what Utah is trying to do by making sure anyone on commission is a tag holding hunter, not just a liberal appointed person by a liberal governor. Boy, that is true. That is true.
And and I'm going to say to Wayne on that one, I think people that are hired through the Game and Fish should also have to go through that scrutiny.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's a bunch of non-hunters on there, but I think that if you're going to be part of an organization,
Yeah. Yeah, it says.
Good point, John.
Another tag. In 3F2, they put out more tags last year when the deer population couldn't support it. We had more hunters driving around here like I haven't seen since I moved on to the place. Now I knew how many deer could be reasonably taken here, and that was it. Plus myself and my boys had tags. So there were a lot of angry and disappointed deer hunters that came to the area because not only they couldn't gain access, but the deer population didn't support that many tags. And I know Waylon said that same thing last year too. He's like, there's no deer, and they just kept pumping tags in 3F2.
Well, and again, I don't know why we don't go to something like I said, Wyoming does. Okay, if you don't have a place to hunt, then you shouldn't be.
Hold on, say that again, John. You cut out again. If you don't have a place to hunt,
if you don't have so in Wyoming where we hunt in Gillette, it says right in the proclamation that 95% of this county is private land, and they make sure of it. So they have a private tag and a public tag because they have very limited public land.
Right.
So if you are gonna go down there without private property, then you can only hunt, and you have that tag, you got to hunt private, and if you got to hunt public. But they've got to do something. It's like we allocate, and I understand when they say, well, we don't own the deer. Well, if there's no public land and it's all private, then these people don't have a place to hunt. And it's not, would it be that unacceptable to say you need to have a landowner sign his name, like when I'm going to South Dakota to get my my special permit, I have to have a landowner's name on there that's going to let me hunt his property. And
ahead of getting the license.
Yeah, ahead of getting the license to get a special permit.
Okay.
So, and I've always griped about that, like in public land. And then, in the old days when we had a lot of deer, they would just, and because it was a Heart River block, people couldn't, had any place to hunt, but then they'd always give out all these extra tags. And then we get all these people driving around circles, and that doesn't help a hunter, with a dad trying to get a deer with his kids, or it doesn't help anybody. So when there's these extra tags left over, if there's not private land there, public land there, why are we giving out all these extra tags?
Yeah. That's a good, so let me get to some of these comments here, and then we also have a huge divide between urban and rural residents, which is becoming more of an issue every year, which is true. Waylon confirmed it was crazy. No more deer tags. Don't understand it. He said, and Wayne says, I agree with John. I think that the quote unquote conservationists are being hired by Game and Fish that actually don't hunt, but they have a different agenda. Now, I'm going to take that one step further and say, same thing with the Forest Service. Same thing with them. They got all these people that are college educated and they're biologists, and they come out and we do a field tour, and the stuff that comes through their mind is just like, I think that if you're going to be working with farmers and ranchers on land that we're leasing from them, they should at least have an idea of what farming and ranching is. Same thing with the hunting.
Practices are.
Yeah, same thing with hunting. Yeah, exactly. But then again, John, hunters are against hunters. You got farmers against farmers, ranchers against ranchers. So.
We're our own worst enemies.
We are. These anti-groups are sitting back and laughing because they don't have to do much anymore. We're fighting with amongst ourselves.
They just stir the pot.
Yeah. So but the whole over 75 years old and they turn that down.
That's crazy.
It's silly to me. I just don't understand it.
And then this whole thing with these amendments with Dick Anderson, and I don't know Dick Anderson, but I know he's getting lambasted right now and from his constituents. But they even said out of 65 people from his county or from his area, 63 of them wanted the bill to go through clean. There was no, they weren't against it. So he's not listening to them. And again, from what I heard, it was, the setback. Because I can put a cornfield right up against your property.
Oh, they're going to start wanting to control that too now, John.
And that's what scares me. That's the one thing I don't like about going through the legislature is like that one guy said, we have to, no matter how dumb the law is, we have to bring it up. Right? And that's where, like, when you get to Colorado and places when more and more liberal people move in, which we are having in North Dakota,
big time.
Stupid things can come through. And again, my thing with us, work with the landowners, work with the ranchers, and work with the public. I understand the public, it's Joe Public gets kind of there, the squeaky wheel. And it's like, work with the landowners, and people have to understand that 91% of all deer shot in this country are on private land. So there's a lot of great landowners working with you. And quit biting our hands and quit putting, us against each other.
No.
Because like I said, this all could have been solved. When you think about it, this is just my opinion. If I was a Game and Fish about this baiting or this feed thing, I would have said, here's the deal. We're going to put a 300-pound limit on it, so guys can't dump truckloads. Pretty simple. And they say, well, it's a nightmare to enforce. Well, I understand that, but it still keeps the honest guy honest, that could have been one stipulation. And the other stipulation is that if we get to, say, a dangerous percentage of CWD, which I don't think we'll ever get to, but they could have done some little things and then given it back to the people and they would have been fine with it. Right. The average person wouldn't have given two shits about it, but the way they did it and the way they're fighting, they have caused so much anxiety and so much hate between everybody because they have just gone off on this, and it didn't need to be gone off on. We don't have CWD's been here for 60 years. We got no one can show anything to say the population is going down. They can call it all the deer they want. Like you said, Jesse, in Wisconsin, they killed every deer in that one unit, every one they could. They
Yeah,
got tens of
all of
thousands of
them.
them. Yep. And
Yep.
that place still has 15% CWD. So it doesn't change CWD. They need to put
No.
through feed or whatever. But again, it doesn't kill deer fast enough to deplete the population. What depletes the
Where did this-
population is our winters.
That's what I was just going to say, John. Drought and hard winters kill gobs more deer than any disease ever has. Where did this big push on this whole CWD and baiting, and where did it come from? Why did this whole situation start in the last
money,
5 to 8 years?
Money.
Isn't it, right? Because, and I'm still a firm believer in it. If there's this many deer, like you said, where are all the pictures of dead deer? Why am I not finding dead deer? I found dead deer with EHD. I understand that if we had tuberculosis or brucellosis or whatever, that's a deadly disease. And I can see that you put quarantines and do things, but if you could somehow control EHD, that's a deadly disease. It kills thousands and thousands and thousands of deer.
Right.
CWD is not killing the deer. If it is, it's killing a few a year, which is natural, which is just Mother Nature. And there's just no way. And if you I've looked at the data in Colorado, and Wyoming, they're saying the population is Wyoming. Well, look at the in 2011, we had devastating. Then just a few years ago, Wyoming had they were covered in 4 feet of snow everywhere. And look at the deer population there. That's where it goes down. You can't blame anything. Our population in North Dakota is down because of what? EHD and the bad winter. It has nothing to do with CWD.
Yep.
So why this big push? And I don't understand. If they're getting this money, what are they using this money for? It's kind of like a brainwashing. It was kind of like COVID. It's like everybody just jumps on board. And I would like to talk to some of these guys. I'd be wondering if they're the ones that got 10 shots because they're just jumping on board. Because guys like that Brock Wall, and he seems like a smart kid, but I just don't understand why he's pushing it so hard unless he's getting paid for it. Did I lose you guys?
No, I'm here.
Nope.
Okay.
Just listening.
If he's getting paid for it, it's so important that they push this agenda so hard when we're just not seeing the die-off. And they got data. They collared 100 deer and 50 died. And they don't know what happened to the other 50. And then out of that 50, I'm like, so they had CWD. Like I said, they lived 4 years. That's a year longer than deer live. Like I said, I don't understand it. I don't understand what the money is used for or why people are. About it.
So text comes in, says they're worried about being reelected and holding on to that position of power, which is never why anybody should run for the seat. If their goal isn't to uphold the constitutional rights, U.S. and statewide, they don't run. CWD is all about the money. Always has been. Follow the money. Oh, that's the thing is, I wish a public office would explain where the money and what it's used for. I wish we could find that out. Like a cooperative. We got to go through that every year and do a yearly meeting, right? And
line items.
Line item. This is what it's for. This is what this is for. And not only just put it as administrative cost. What type of administration cost is?
Yeah.
What is it actually?
That's a lot of toilet paper.
That's a shit ton of toilet paper.
And like I said, the thing about it is that when you look at it, and they talk about congregating deer. There's two sides of this. So we have deer that hit haystacks. So if we have one haystack, so the chance of any disease spreading in that one haystack is quite a bit more, right? So if you have 5 haystacks, you take and you spread the deer out in 5 different places. So now the chance of spreading disease goes down a little bit more, right? I mean, it's just common sense. If you have one water hole on your place and it's full of mud and that's where that midge is and every deer's got to come there, the chances of them getting EHD is really high,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So if you have 5 or 10 water holes, it spreads the chance out. And that, when you can look at baiting, if people bait, maybe the reason that there's not EH or CWD spreading is because people have bait piles all over. So the deer are spread out. They're not congregated in one spot. So that's the double-edged sword of this. Maybe baiting helps it, but they don't look at that.
So, John, you just explained the entire state of Texas. The Game and Fish in Texas, they actually pay landowners to put up feeders, and they get a discount on the corn or whatever they use in those feeders for that specific reason. They want more and spread them out more and more. And Gene says we have more CWD now because we have more deer today as a whole than we did back in the 60s.
True.
True,
very true.
But the Texas Game and Fish, they do exactly what you just said, John. That's exactly their call. They're like, yeah, spread it out. If you're going to do it, spread it out.
Yeah, the guy from Lucky Buck talked about that. When you have mineral sites, if you have multiple mineral sites, that means your deer are going to multiple different, they're spreading out, because deer don't move that far. They're not going to, if they have corn and mineral and feed on one side of your property, my deer they don't leave that area until the rut. They come, they travel. But again, deer are so social. Every licking branch out there gets hit by almost every deer. That's where saliva is at. Every scrape. When deer in a cornfield, I can videotape deer. Every time they're in a soybean field, they come up, they lick each other, they sniff each other, they do all this stuff. No different than, like I said, that's why there's no real evidence that baiting spreads. And they'll say, well, we've got evidence that the feeders are okay, so they're contaminated. Every piece of every licking branch and everything out there is going to be contaminated, because if there's a deer that's got saliva on it and they say it's an actual test to prove that there's CWD, but it's not saying it's spreading. Just because something's got, if you've got bubonic plague and you drink out of a drinking fountain and they test it, if I drink behind it, doesn't mean I'm going to get sick from it. It might say that it's on the drinking fountain, but it doesn't mean you're going to get sick.
Well, now, John, now the Game and Fish is going to be in charge of trees too, because they don't want more stick restrictions.
Well,
right,
and that's why we can't use urine. We can't use urine. And it was proven that it was like 30 gallons of urine.
Yeah,
I just think it's, like I said, it's all these things. Like I said, it's the low hanging fruit that the Game and Fish feels like they're doing their job. But I think that they're doing their job on this low hanging fruit, which is really not preventing anything. It's not stopping. It's not helping the cure. It's not anything. Honestly, when you think about it, you kill more deer by baiting than you do not baiting.
And you got a lot more ethical shot on it too.
Yeah. And you're keeping the population in check better. So it's not, I don't know. It's just, we lost our way because it's just a big pissing fight.
So Orrin Lesmeister weighed in here. He was a legislator down in South Dakota. He said, I've asked for a specific number in committee of CWD. Never could get an answer, just an estimate. He says it's not reliable at all. So
no.
And
they said we had 2 more die this year from CWD, but again, we don't have the evidence. And if again, Dusty Backer, and you listen to that Dr. Wallach, if you really have to have an autopsy or narcropsy to figure out if it's got CWD, then we don't know if just because they test positive, if you test positive for COVID, doesn't mean you actually have.
Right. Or,
because there can be false, right?
Yeah.
You think about it. There's, like Dusty said, it could be pneumonia, it could be everything. You don't know. And that's why that bill was gone through there about having the narcropsies, but they said it was too expensive. And that's why they did settle on that one, where they're going to have to tell us exactly the number.
They really said it was too expensive?
Well, yeah, they said that microscope is like, whatever X amount of. It just wasn't feasible from what they were saying.
Did anybody throw the number at them that they've spent on CWD the last 10 years?
Well, I know. And I think we have microscopes at the state animal health. I would like to have like I said, I would test my deer if I could test it in an independent testing
Right.
to know that it's done properly and correctly, but I'm not sending it off to some place that I don't know. And like someone said, we've got these deer heads laying in top, so you drop your deer head off in a container full of other deer heads.
Right.
So they cross contaminate. That's not scientific. Like I said, I just think that this has gotten out of control. Like I said, and then I just saw that Backcountry Hunters and Anglers is putting out mass video about saying North Dakota is doing the wrong thing, and we all got to band together and stop them. And I'm like, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys got to remember the North Dakota Game and Fish is now known as the largest lobbying group in the state.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what they're known as anymore. So, and yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why they don't do the radio shows and talk to people. And I think that
they will. They'll do everybody else's radio show.
I don't know why. Like I said, I really believe. Like I said, I got to stop in and talk to Jeb. Like I said, and just try to figure out why we can't get back to the table, and why we can't have representatives of the ranching and farming community there. When 90% of our land is private.
No, they just want to control it is what they want. It's all about control.
I just think there's a better way. It's like it's just not working, because like I said, I think our relationship with the Game and Fish right now is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah. So I just seen something, and this is off topic, so we can end on a high note, that Kelly Armstrong just signed a window tint bill. Do you guys know anything about that? So we can tint our windows now. The cops aren't going to just pick us up for having tinted windows.
Yeah, I heard some rumblings of it. I didn't look into it, I guess, but they won't allow you to go completely black, I don't think, but they've raised the percentage.
50%.
Is it 50? Okay.
And the front windshield stays the same. And here's my philosophy on it. I do not like pulling up next to a car that I can't see in, especially when it's an out-of-state license plate or whatever. It makes me nervous. And if I was a police officer, plus when you drive, think about this. When you're coming up to a, say, an unmarked intersection, I look at the driver to make sure they're paying attention to what I'm doing, and and you can't see in the windows. I think it's a safety hazard. I don't think it has anything to do with anything but safety. I don't know why people want their windows.
I can see it in states, John, like Arizona. You get down south, Arizona, Texas, you get in them southern climates. It makes a huge difference on the efficiency of your car for air conditioning and whatnot. But in our northern state, I really don't understand the want or need for it either. And I agree, it is a safety issue, not just for police officers, but like you said, being able to see what the other people are looking at or doing at intersections. So I think that's why they only went to 50%. But it'll be interesting. It's right now, what is it, 30?
30, yeah. So here's my take on it.
Yeah.
Is all three of us should not be nervous by pulling up to somebody that has tint on their windows, because I doubt that they have more weapons in their vehicle than anybody here.
Fair statement.
Okay. I can see the police issue though. I definitely say, and even on four-way stops, people have an issue on knowing who gets to go first, and you need to see somebody wave you through, right? That I can see. I see that, but don't be nervous, because we definitely have more weapons.
Yeah, but they can see us pick our weapon up. I can't see if they got theirs pointed at me. Right, I would think with today's technology that there's something out there, that you can see through.
Absolutely,
kind of like a blind. I can see out it, but they can't see in it. So you could reverse that, and it would do the same thing. But I don't know if it would cut the UV rays down, Jesse. saw that and I thought,
Yeah, I don't know.
I was wondering who was complaining about that
I'm
because I
sure-
remember as a kid,
I'm
I
sure they
tinted my
got
windows
it.
and
I'm sure
yeah.
they have it. I just, it comes down to an expense.
yeah, like I said, I got pulled over when I was a kid for having a jacked up truck and tinted windows, and I got fined.
Yeah, I got the same thing when I moved from South Dakota back to North Dakota. It was the first damn day. I think Jesse was with me, and we had to rip we had to rip it off right there in the parking lot.
Yeah, my sister was going to school in Aberdeen, and she bought a car down there, and it had South Dakota legal tint on it. And she was on her way to Garrison, North Dakota, to my grandma and grandpa's for Thanksgiving, had South Dakota license plates on it. So she was legal, and she got pulled over by Washburn. And I mean, that 19-year-old girl was pooping pants because that old Ricky over there in Washburn used to be the highway patrol, and
Yeah.
he wasn't very nice.
No, and oh man, it was my family and my father, it didn't turn out real well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you guys I got you beat on this one. I had a Honda Accord with blue tinted windows.
Oh, you cool.
I bought, and I was 40 years old. I bought it as a junker to run down to the ranch from a guy, and I couldn't peel it off. So it was, my front bumpers was held on by wood screws, and I had blue tinted windows, but it was my res runner.
That's funny.
Clay just sent a text. He says it could help with theft. That way they don't see in your vehicles, and that happens a lot at the stock show.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, you and I both know people that have had their vehicles stolen at the stock show because of what was inside, and the windows just blown right out of it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
Stock shows, that's a different crowd sometimes.
Yeah, you go to Rapid City to stock show, you clean your pickup out before you go.
What did you just get the hoods that come through there looking for it? Or?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a large population of certain people in Rapid City.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah.
They go looking.
Wayland says here, got pulled over for tinting on my pickup in high school. Cop took my license and asked if cops ever pulled me over for this in Shields. I laughed and said, "What cops?" He got a ticket. All right, well, gentlemen, I got to go check some cows. So,
well, have a great day, guys.
Yeah, thanks, John, again for coming
on.
You
too.
Jesse, thanks for the after commentary. Appreciate you guys.
I'm gonna go start working on the boat for Dakota Walleye Classic.
Get her done and get fishing. Start pre-fishing right now.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, YouTubers, thank you guys for kind of sticking with me here and having a little bit of fun here on a Saturday. Happy calving to you.